Today I fucked up by letting my girlfriend bring home other girls. So a little backstory: I have a GF who I very much love and who took my virginity, and when she first said she wanted to start bringing other girls into bed with us, I was against it because it felt wrong to be with anyone other than her, but after discussing it I agreed and it became a regular thing. So here's where the today I fucked up begins. GF knows I have a thing for small girls, and she's at a work thing on Monday and sends me a text saying, "I met tiniest girl ever, can I bring her to your place right now?" And of course I was like, hell yeah, and I start cleaning up my place. Half an hour later I hear them at the door and open it and instantly recognize the girl she's brought because she used to stalk me in high school. I used to have to tell this girl multiple times a day not to touch me and she'd never listen. I used to point out in front of teachers that I was being touched against my will and they would laugh it off. You know how much trouble I'd get in with reverses roles. One day at lunch a friend wouldn't tell her where I was and she beat him with a stick. Now suddenly this chick's standing on my doorstep knowing where I live. So I was like, no, she can't come in, and my girlfriend asked why and I said she used to stalk me. Immediately stalker starts arguing about how she's changed and I just keep refusing to let her in, so my GF drives her home and then me and GF have a nice date night. Well, guess who's happened to be walking by my place on her way to work as I was leaving for college 3 times now. Ding ding, stalker chick. TL, doctor, let my GF bring another chick back to my place and it was my high school stalker. NGL, I thought this was gonna be about your GF leaving you for another girl, lol. Credit where it's due, guys. He did not stick his dick in crazy. Too bad about the stalker situation though. Can't rule out the possibility that she engineered a situation to meet your GF. Be prepared to gather evidence for a restraining order. The stalker probably found out who your GF was and made this happen. Get a restraining order. Put cameras where you can. Stalkers won't go away on their own. Haha, oh man, this today I fucked up is so relatable, right fellas? I also had the sex once. Is it normal for you not to request a picture of the girls? Today I fucked up. I stole porno magazines from my dad, broke a key, got super glue on my teeth, and got caught. Obligatory. This didn't happen today but happened 17 years ago to the day and nearly to the hour. Anybody that knows me has heard me tell this story, but I have no shame. This happened 17 years ago when I was a young budding 13-year-old who had just taken an interest in girls and the female body. I had unwittingly walked in on my dad watching porn on our basement TV. I didn't see him beating it or anything, I just caught a glimpse of the video before he yelled at me to go back upstairs. So begins my quest to find the porn. Over the next couple of weeks, I looked everywhere in the house. In the basement, in all of the totes with his power tools, bathroom cupboards, etc. And I couldn't find a damn thing. I did find my dad's weed stash though, so that was neat. Over the course of looking for the porn stash, I kept seeing this key on this particular keychain. It was a rather unassuming thing, but was very specific as to what it went to. It was a key attached to this little plastic shirt-looking doodad. A hair bit of backstory: growing up we had this cabinet that we kept our VHS movies in. It was a little thing, double door, and held about 3 small shelves of movies with room for a single row of movies on each door. This cabinet was ever present during my childhood. We didn't have much, but this thing held all the movies we owned. When my parents had finally saved up money and bought this little house out in the middle of BFE, Kansas, the cabinet disappeared. Thought nothing of it at the time. Fast forward a year and me finally taking note of the key. We hardly ever locked the cabinet, but it did have a lock and this key on this particular key ring was always in the lock. Then I remembered when my sister and I had snuck a look at our Christmas presents the winter before that, I saw the cabinet in my parents' closet. Holy shit, the one place I hadn't looked. The closet. Me being a genius, I didn't take the key but went and checked the closet, and sure enough, no pornos. But my dad, who worked nights, caught me in the closet and chewed my ass out for being in their room and specifically in their closet. After that, the key disappeared for a few weeks. I tried to locate the thing but couldn't find it. But one day, the old man slipped up and the key was left out on the coffee table next to a pack of Marlboro Reds. I snatched that bastard up and snuck into my parents' closet. Sure enough, there stood the cabinet all vulnerable and awaiting a good unlocking. I swear it felt like an Indiana Jones movie. The clothes parted, a single ray of light from the 60-watt bulb shone on the lock, and the sound of a pounding heartbeat filled my ears as I put the key into the lock and turned. Cold feeling of disappointment washed over me when the key wouldn't turn. Then I noticed an issue. I don't know why or how I didn't notice it before. The key was bent just far enough away from the base that all the teeth couldn't go in. I never discovered if this was a 200-ick move from my dad to deter me, but deter me it did not. I bent that key in the lock and sure enough it unlocked the cabinet. The angels sang and a golden light came from the cabinet as I opened it. Sure enough I found the holy grail of porn. The cabinet was lined with magazines and videos. I had to take a deep breath before I took anything, but I snatched a magazine. Now me being a super smart kid with a dad that would beat my ass raw, I had to cover my tracks. So I locked the cabinet, rebent the key, and returned the key to where I found it exactly in the same position and orientation that I found it in. One magazine wouldn't satisfy me though. So near every night I swapped out magazines until a terrible thing happened. When I was going to lock the cabinet after my latest heist, the damn key broke in the lock while I was bending it back into its bent position. A feeling of cold terror swept over me. My dad was going to kill me. I had to get the broken part of the key out of the lock and fast. I had about 2 hours or so until my dad got up for work. So I tried everything I could think of. I tried pliers, a screwdriver to force it out. I took the door off and tried to shake it out. I took the lock off and tried to get it out, etc. All of them failed. Finally I had a genius idea. I put super glue on one end of the key and tried to glue them together to get it out. The first attempt failed. I panicked and tried to pull the key out before the glue had dried. I tried again and again, letting it sit for a few minutes, but the key got stuck or the glue broke away each time. After a few attempts there was so much glue on the lock and key that I couldn't try again. So me being a super genius tried to wash it off, which failed. I tried to chisel it off with a screwdriver, which didn't go very well. But this got enough of the glue off to try to retrieve the key again, which also failed. My last attempt was to try to bite or pull the glue off with my teeth. This ended terribly. I was able to get some of the glue off, but some of it hadn't quite dried well enough between attempts. So I got a bunch of super glue stuck to my teeth. I freaked out and went and got my little sister. She also freaked out knowing my dad's wrath and did the best she could. Try as she might, we could not get the glue or key out of the lock, nor could we get it off my teeth. Then my dad woke up. I panicked. I had rigged the cabinet shut with some string and a whole lot of determination. I was a dead man once my dad found the cabinet. But he didn't find it that night. I stayed up another hour or two trying to get the glue off my teeth and failed miserably. Next morning I got up and got ready for school. I wrote a letter to my dad explaining what I had found, confessed my sins, explained the cabinet and lock, and apologized. I left the letter and key on the counter and got on the school bus. I knew when I got home from school that day that hell would be waiting for me at home. My sister had already said her goodbyes to me. That whole day I was in fear with each bell between classes, knowing that each one signaled that the time of my execution was getting closer. The end of the day came and I got on the bus. I was having a meltdown panic attack all the way home. When I finally got home, I saw that both of my parents' cars were in the driveway. My mom was always at work at this time, so I knew that something bad was going to happen. I walk in the door and there stood both of my parents next to the counter. The moment was at hand. I hadn't said my prayers and it was all over. My dad told me that he was pissed when he found the glue-covered key and note. He then went on to say that he had never laughed so hard. At this point he was cracking up a bit, as when I saw the glue-covered lock. He then called me an idiot and threw a plastic bag at me, saying it was about that time to bring him what magazines or movies I had in my room, and to go to my room. In the bag there was a brand new Playboy magazine. So ends the day I didn't die. On a final note for closure, still had glue on my teeth. Both of my parents almost died laughing. I had to go to a dentist who worked some whirring machinery voodoo and got the glue off of my teeth. One of my canines had the enamel almost entirely removed to get the glue off. I still bear that scar. Too long didn't read. Found my dad's porn stash in an old cabinet that was locked with a bent key. After some time taking magazines from it, the key broke in the lock. I tried to retrieve the broken part by gluing the two parts of the key together several times. A bunch of glue built up on the key. I tried to remove the glue by biting it off and ended up with super glue all over my teeth. I left a note explaining what happened and the key on the counter before school. When I got home, my dad gave me a Playboy and damn near died laughing when he saw the glue on my teeth. A dentist then murdered one of my canines getting the glue off. That was funny as hell. I can't believe the story is more epic than the title. Never underestimate the power of a 13-year-old. I used to spend hours flipping through channels after 12 AM in hope of catching a good scene. Best story ever. I'd have cracked up too. Today I fucked up by ruining my boyfriend's sex tape. This today I fucked up actually happened earlier today. My boyfriend and I go to college together, but winter break is coming, so we're making the best of the time we've got left. Obviously this means as much sex as possible in between finals. Eventually we realized that we're gonna need something to tide us over for the next month, and my boyfriend gets the idea of recording us doing it. Here's the thing, I'm really camera shy. The entire time I was holding my breath and pretty tense. Eventually things heat up and we both get really into it, so I start to loosen up a bit. This is where the fuck up happens. Soon enough, while he's got the camera focusing from behind me, I relax my stomach and knees only to let out the loudest queef I've ever heard. It sounded like a fart and small explosive had a baby in my vagina. On camera. Immediately we burst out laughing. He said he could feel the vibration on my ass cheeks. Watched the video together and it perfectly cut off right after we started laughing. At least we have something to laugh at over break instead. Too long didn't read. My boyfriend and I recorded ourselves having sex, and just as it was getting good, I queefed and ruined the video. Edit. I don't care if any of you shame me for having a sex tape. We're having fun and it just happened. If you don't agree, that's fine. My boyfriend and I have enough trust in each other, so we're not worried about the other leaking them. Edit 2. I consider this a fuck up because it's not what either of us intended to happen for the video. This is not a fuck up but a gift that will give and give and give. You made memories. Queefs typically are from air pressure pushed into the puss from doggy style in most cases. They're normal if at a certain angle of insertion is taking place. Just saying. Also some people like that shit. You just never know. He'll probably still fat to it. Guaranteed. Thanks for them. Their fact spill neither queef guy. Joke's on you, you found out one of his secret fetishes. I was mortified the first time a queef happened when my BF and I were 69ing. He thought it was hilarious, finished laughing and then went right back to clam diving. Edit, auto-corrected to queen. I'm not afraid of monarchy in the bedroom. I was mortified the first time a queen happened. It's normal for a monarchy to take place during sex.